Hey there, it's Derek from Pacific Coast Auto in Japan here. This is a Toyota Chaser JZX90. And so if you paid any attention to drifting or modifying culture, this has become a very popular car in about the last 10 years or so. This one here is a 1994. It was bought from auction. Here in Japan, we're going to be sending this one to the USA. This one has the 1JZGTE engine in it. That's a turbo inline 6-cylinder 2.5. If you're not familiar with that engine, and a lot of you who are watching this will be, it's one of the best engines that Toyota has ever made. A lot of people know the Supra engine, the 2JZ. So the 1J is a smaller engine than that. It came before the 2J. Some people will argue it's better. I would be raising my hand at that. Although I really like the 2J as well. I just quite like the 1J. Very reliable, very good breathing in the head. Comes in some of the best cars ever. This one has a bit of a misfire problem, and the exhaust smells like unburnt fuel. So I think it needs the injectors cleaned out. That seems to be what the cause is, but I don't know. You'd really need a mechanic to check that out. I'm going to go over this inspection sheet in a second. First off, let's take a look at the engine here. Yeah. Okay, so this is just over 100,000 kilometers. It's a twin turbo, and then in this generation, those are a parallel twin turbo setup, unlike the 2JZ, which is sequential, which means that both turbos are the same size and they each are run off of 3 cylinders. It's a simpler design. Really no issues here. The coolant looks okay. The oil looks okay. It's just that slight misfire, which only happens sometimes, and that's why it leads me to believe that it's a injector issue. Yamaha made the best heads for Toyota, and the hood struts don't work. So this one is an automatic transmission, which means that you can get it for a reasonable price. The manual versions are much more expensive, like $4,000 or $5,000 more. But this one here, this is the inspection sheet. I'll quickly go over this. It's a 1994, 12th month Toyota Chaser Tour V. This is a grade 3.5 interior exterior C with 103,197 kilometers. Comes with sunroof. It's a Tourer V and 1JZ engine. The left rear power window doesn't work. Actually, the regulator works, but the window has separated from the regulator, so you could open that up and seal it back into place. That's what these pieces of tape are for. I guess somebody at the auction did that, or maybe the seller did that previously. Okay. Windshield rock chip, interior dirty. Right side door mirror electric folding doesn't work. And if you take a look, they've got this sparkle paint on it, like somebody's drift mirrors. And you can see my camera strap hitting it. Dashboard has glue marks. It's actually quite a bit of glue marks on it. Things glued onto the dashboard previously that have been taken off, and there are left marks. Seat is stained. Actually, the whole interior has kind of a grungy, needs to be extracted feel to it. Interior has been yellowed. It doesn't smell heavily of cigarettes, but there's a little bit of a smell. Various scratches and dents. Lowered car. It came with the stock suspension in the back, but that's not really worth the price that it'll cost to ship it. Door mirrors have been painted. They've probably just been replaced from someone else's car, to be honest. And so here it says uneven paint, or paint is unclear on here, and paint is unclear here. It's really paint fade on the upper lip of the front and the rear bumpers. And then a large scratch over here, and various dents like here, and here, and here. The body is not that bad, considering it's 25 years old. I would consider this maybe about a 7 out of 10 in terms of body, which is pretty good. It's above average, I would say. They made 3 versions of this, called the Chaser, the Mark II, and the Cresta, which are all very similar looking, but they don't share the same body parts anywhere, really. I think it's front window and back window are the only, and I might even be wrong about that. It's rear-wheel drive, commonly used as a drift car, mostly because of long wheelbase and reliability, which is something that you want in your drift car. You can also get a lot of power out of it, but really, for amateur drifters, it's the reliability and the long wheelbase that helps. And availability for parts, because they sold a lot of these in Japan. Recently, because they're popular drift cars, parts have become more scarce and vehicles have become scarce, and so the price is going up. But man, are these ever good street cars. Even if you don't want to take it drifting, they feel so good to drive, and it's something that's hard to explain to somebody who hasn't driven hundreds of thousands of cars, but they just feel right. They got so much of it right. And it's the same kind of thing as the 8.6, the old 8.6. Because even though it's not that good of a car, it just feels fun to drive. But this is good. It's a really good amount of power. It's comfortable inside. It's the engine just sounds so nice and feels so good, and even in stock power levels is fantastic. I think 2.5 is about perfect engine capacity for 90s turbos before they got good at handling the power before the boost comes in. So door cards are rather good. It has this fake wood trim on it. The power windows, they all function except for the one that is broken. It has a hideous steering wheel cover on it. Seats. Seats are good, but the driver's seat is sagging on the outside. The foam has collapsed inside. It could be repaired, but the car is not quite old enough in order to be worth an awful lot more with the original interior. And so it might be a good idea to just switch to a sports seat, and then you can get something nice. Just keep this original seat, because in 10 years an original seat on this car is going to be unobtainable, and somebody will pay even if it is saggy. Now they come in manual transmissions. It is a shame that this one isn't one, but the autos still have a place. They're a very good to drive car, even if it is an automatic transmission. There's the gunk on the dashboard. So the AC works. Mechanically, I don't see any issues. The brakes feel like they need the fluid changed, but that's about it. And somebody had sharp boots. Going into the back seat, we got bear. Yeah, nope, panda, which technically isn't a bear. There's a stain on the seat there. Some sort of Japanese air fresheners up here and back there, and it does smell like the Japanese air fresheners. Stained carpets a bit. The trunks on these are bigger than you would expect, especially with the Toyota Supra's trunk being so small. And this works, but it doesn't work very well because the dampers in the back are shot, and so sometimes you press that to unlock it, and you'll have to do it again because the sucking of the air when you close the door latches it again. So tons and tons and tons of room in the back here. That's really good for a 3-box design car. That's original exhaust on it too. That's cool. And then original wheels, even though it's been lowered. And so these cars look fantastic with 18-inch wheels. And it's kind of that type of car that the people who know about it are going to really care about it and go, wow, look what I found today. And then other people will just be like, wow, that's a Camry, which is, to some people like me, a really cool feeling. Anyways, that's going to be the end of this report. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'm just showing you the fade on the top of the bumper here. And it's going to be exported right away here. So thank you so much for watching this, and have a nice day.